Well, welcome back to Talking Wanderers, and we've got a smile on our faces today. I'm joined by our Wanderers correspondents Mark Isles and Liam Cronell, and we're looking back on Saturday's 5-0 victory over Stoke City, when there were so many things to talk about and an absolute plethora of positives. Right, boys, are we going over the top, or are we going to keep some perspective?
I think you've got to bear in mind what happened maybe with Wigan. We all got a little bit excited thinking that Bolton had turned the corner, and then we found out to our cost that wasn't the case. But no doubt about it, there was a lot of positives to take from the game and the performance, and a few questions answered for some of the players maybe. But I think going to West Brom next time after the international break, that's when we'll really find out how good things are. Really.
Certainly a huge change around though from this time last week when on the back of the Swansea defeat, the financial figures had come out, the club had plunged another 20 million in debt, and it was all a bit doom and gloom. Now, if ever there's going to be a performance and a result to lift that, then 5-0 against Stoke is pretty impressive.
Very nice.
You see, I've still got the doom and gloom. I'm not letting go of it now, because 8 defeats in 9, 1 fantastic victory. You can't go. You just can't think everything's sweetness and light. That on Saturday was as close to a gift as you're going to get in the Premier League. Now 1-0, you'd say that 5-0 was absolutely amazing. That's the way to beat a team that's on its knees. But they did arrive on their knees, didn't they? Still, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the travel that they'd been to Tel Aviv in the week, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And too many times this season, Bolton haven't even done that. After a tough run of games, it was Norwich are coming, and people saying, well, what relief, and then they go and get beat. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you can argue with the result or the performance. And after the semi-final, FA Cup semi-final, wow, this was the perfect riposte.
I think the other thing is that we were doubting whether they were capable of even this.
Yes, of course.
A couple of weeks ago, looking around, nobody was in form. Aside from the odd glimpse here and there, one or two, there wasn't a man that came off the pitch that hadn't done themselves justice. And that, for confidence, that's just a massive thing. Just to say, we're not that bad a team, not that bad of players. Now just go on and take that through. Yeah,
well, don't get me wrong. I mean, 5-0. I mean, Liam did a super piece in Tuesday's paper about the previous 5-0, 5-1 victories, memorable ones, and this definitely is right up there. Everything that Bolton hit, went for them, didn't it? But I don't want to get too giddy now after this, and then come back after West Brom if things don't go. If things go the same way that they've gone over the last 8 games or so. What do you think that they need to do after the international break, looking to that West Brom? Okay, what do they need to bear in mind?
Well, I think the first thing is that Owen Coyle will now have an idea in his head as to what his best team is already. He'll know what he's going to put out there on the pitch. That hasn't been the case for the last few weeks. There's been so much chopping and changing. There won't be a player that started that game that I wouldn't imagine will start as long as they're fit against West Brom, really.
I think what will be really interesting is though he's done this 4-5-1 system away from home. Now, the temptation will be to stick with what he's got and go attacking, and I think that was a key part of Sunday's performance. Coyle hasn't really known. He's chopped and changed the team. He's chopped and changed the formation. But this is Owen Coyle stamped all over, wasn't it? It was like I think he admitted himself he didn't know what to do, and he's just gone back to instinct, which is to attack. Now it'll be really interesting to see whether he continues with that at West Brom, or whether goes back to 4-5-1, tries to nick a point, and keep a bit, get a bit of a run going.
There was a bit of chopping and changing, wasn't there? Klasnic, that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, he's been guilty, perhaps not taking his chances. He let everybody down, I think, with the red card against Norwich, and I don't think Coyle was backwards in blaming him for that one. And there's a few of them like that just haven't taken their chances. But the one thing, and we always say about Klasnic, is if you give him enough time and space, he'll score goals. I think he's on something like 1 in 2, which is a tremendous. It's right up there with the very best in the Premier League. So you can't argue against starting him on those sort of figures.
There were moments of absolute class there, wasn't there, from Klasnic, Liam, on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, arguably, I thought he was the man of the match. I thought he was better than Eagles. I thought, he set up 2, scored 2 more, but his work rate, I've honestly never seen him work as hard as that. Now, whether, like you say, he felt he had something to prove after letting everyone down at Norwich, whether he wanted to be in that team, obviously Ngog's come in now, he's sort of fallen down the pecking order. But I thought that was an all-round brilliant display from Klasnic, and one that we've rarely seen at the Reebok. We've seen the goals, we've seen the touches of, genius, but we've never seen that type of work rate.
Mm. And Mark Davis falls into that category as well. He came in and he hasn't been good enough from when he started games. He hasn't been good enough. Full stop. He comes on as a substitute. He can change the game. He's running with the balls fantastic. But we saw a different Mark Davis, I think, out on the right wing. Really helped Joe Riley, who came on as made his debut. Just compensated that little bit of work rate and really gives him protection on that wing as well. So it was a good move.
What's Riley's situation now in terms of staying in the side?
I see no reason why he shouldn't. I mean, Steinton's clearly out of favour, and Boyata's got 6 weeks out. Mays is in no rush to come back. Ricketts isn't. The right spot's there for him to take. And I mean, as someone who's watched the reserves for the last couple of years, I think Riley and obviously Josh Vella are the two that I'd really fancied to come through. Now Riley's come through, and one game doesn't mean anything, but he's taken his chance. And if there's one thing Owen Coyle's reiterated this season, it's if you take your chance, you will stay in the team, and I see no reason why he shouldn't. Certainly for the next month or so.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Eagles. He's the man everyone was talking about. Silky smooth skills. He really took the eye, didn't he, Mark?
Well, I mean, I go against what Liam said. I gave Eagles my man of the match. It was a very close call, but no, I just thought he was magnificent. The way he took his goals, some of the touches, his work rate. But what you've got to have with Eagles is a performance off the back of that, because just as Wanderers have. That performance at West Brom is going to be very, very interesting with Eagles, because he's blown so hot and cold. He's capable of the absolute magnificent, but not often enough for Bolton since he's been here. So it'll be interesting.
Well, thanks, lads, and thank you very much for joining us on Talking Wanderers. We'll be back again next week, looking back at how Gary Cahill went on for England and looking forward to the following Saturday's game at West Brom.